Hey everyone, welcome to TN Sports Chat presented by Lehigh Valley Health Network. We're back after a week off, a little bit of a hiatus, and as you can see, we've definitely hit the upgrade button with the signage that we have behind us. But definitely want to thank everybody at Lehigh Valley Health Network and everybody in our advertising department for kind of helping to get us
bling up our show.
Yeah, I mean, we started with just a little piece of paper almost, and never really knew if you could even see it. And now we have this where it looks like we've turned our little conference room into a studio. So I think that's pretty rad. But anyway, so we are now into district playoffs. Playoffs for boys and girls basketball. I mean, it seems like it's been a couple of weeks that we've been kind of forecasting this, and a total of 16 area boys and girls teams made it. 9 boys, 7 girls, which is up from 10 last year. A lot of work, a lot of stuff that we're going to be doing over the next week or two, I guess.
It's going to be a busy time. We also have wrestling, we have district swimming and diving.
Yeah.
So a lot going to be going on this week. You know, it's all going to start. So we're excited.
Yeah, and some of the matchups, I did the preview story for us on Monday. Some of the matchups are definitely interesting. You know, on the boys and the girls side, we get some double locals, we get some rivalry type games.
Right. You got some rematches.
Yeah.
You got teams from our area playing state-ranked teams this in the next couple of days. We have some sub-regionals where District 11, where our teams are playing teams not even from District 11, playing District 1 teams, District 2 and 4 teams in Class A. So yeah, we've got quite the variety going on here.
What matchup stands out most to you? I think the one that kind of jumped out to me looks like that Marion Panther Valley boys game,
right? Which is the furthest off of the 16 teams we were playing. Pleasant Valley girls opened last night, and Panther Valley and Marion boys don't play till next Tuesday, so 6 days away. Yeah, but that's a big game. It's Panther Valley. First of all, there's only 5 teams in that class, so they got buys right to the semifinals. And Panther Valley's beaten Marion twice this year. First game was a close game. Last game at the end of the regular season, they beat them by like 25 points. Features the number 1 and 2 scorers, Tyler Fritz for Marion and Rini Fagora, Panther Valley. They're the top 2 boys scorers in the area. Yeah, a lot to, and it's a huge rival.
Yeah, and I mean, Rennie scored 44 in that that last game, which clinched the Schuylkill League Division III title for the Panthers. So it's all, you know, it's always cliched, I guess, but it's hard to beat a team 3 times in one season. But Panthers will definitely have a chance to do that next week and punch their ticket.
Right, to the state, not only to the district final, but to the state playoffs. Panther Valley hasn't made the state playoffs since 1990. So were you even born in 1990?
I was.
You were 2?
Close.
Yeah, so it's been a long time. Marion made the state playoffs last year. So they're trying to get a spot back, but I think that will be the top local game for us.
And I mean, really kind of ratchets up sort of the intensity, the importance of, again, like you said, not just a spot in a district championship game, but also a shot at making the state playoffs. But also, like you mentioned, we're already underway with these district playoff games where we have the Pleasant Valley girls upended Pocono Mountain West.
Nice win for Coach Nadia Goransky and her team.
Now they get number 1 seed Easton in the next round, which is
lost by 31 points to them the first time around. It's a tough reward for winning the game, but they've had a great season. They're a young team. They had some injuries. Young players filled in. So if nothing else, I would think Coach Goransky would want to use this as just a building block for next year.
And even when we did put the preview capsules together for the Pocono West Pleasant Valley game, she had mentioned about how some players were out throughout the course of the season and forced other girls to step up and step in and get more playing time. And I think it's definitely paid dividends as the season's gone on, where they finished really, really strong, and now they get a shot at the number 1 team in the Class 6A bracket. So
that's Thursday at Whitehall. They'll be playing that game. We also have a Pleasant Valley team playing tonight. Pleasant Valley boys, another first-round game. They have their work cut out for them too. They're playing Emmaus. It's a 7-seed, 10-seed game.
But that's an Emmaus team that I wasn't even really aware and kind of, I guess, forgot that last year made it into the district semis, but then also won 2 state playoff games, which was
playoff experience.
Yeah, super impressive. I mean, and they just barely fell to Carlisle, I think it was, in the 6A quarterfinals.
And they have 2 starters back from that team, and
they have size.
And they're 6'8", 6'5", 6'6" across the front line, and they're a little deceiving as a 7 seed because they've had a couple of their key players miss time who are back now. So that's a team that could surprise in the tournament. They could actually be a 2, 3, 4 seed if they didn't have
all
the
the pieces were there throughout the season. That's definitely a team that you could see being up a little bit higher than a number 7 seed.
Right. We talked about, Pleasant Valley will have their hands full with them tonight, but that's a team that hasn't made district playoffs in like 5 years. So it's another thing where they're a pretty young team. If nothing else, it's a stepping stone for next season.
Absolutely. And I think it's the first time, too, that they're in the district playoffs since Matt Gould took over as the head coach, which certainly is, again, they want to make it, but that they're not just happy to be there. They want to, kind of have a little bit of a extended stay. So, but as far as the rundown of other teams, I mean, we have, again, it's almost all of our teams that are going to be playing throughout the course of the next couple of weeks.
Let's kind of go day by day. We talked tonight. We talked Pleasant Valley girls are playing Thursday. The other Thursday game we have in our coverage area is the Weatherly boys playing Nativity. Class A boys game rematch. 2 Schuylkill League teams. Nativity beat them by 13 points earlier in the season.
And Weatherly's obviously kind of been in the midst of some
roster flux.
But they still have Scotty's Ocean, which he's been kind of a catalyst for them,
averaging almost 14 points a game this year for them.
So and it's again just another thing where it's a great experience for them to be in the postseason. So.
And then Friday, looking to Friday, we have three games Friday, matching 4 local teams. We talked about the Marion Panther Valley game being a double local. We also have a big double local game on Friday. Tamaqua and Jim Thorpe boys are playing at Panther Valley.
Which Tamaqua swept Thorpe in the regular season, but anything can happen. I mean, you saw what Jim Thorpe did last year, upended a Salisbury team, I think, which to kind of to move on, but anything can happen in the district playoffs. So. That's again, it's hard to beat a team 3 times in any season.
Right. And they, I think the second time the teams played, it was a 12-point game. I think it was, single digits in the 4th quarter. So you don't know. Tamaqua has Thad Zuper's been their leading scorer this year. He's kind of the all-around athlete. He does everything for them sports-wise and also on the basketball court, rebounding, shooting, scoring.
And again, that's a roster that has certainly some other pieces with Lucas Gregoire, which, not Jaguar, Braden Knobloch, Casey Rother. There are a lot of other contributors there for the Blue Raiders that have kind of made them go this year.
Jim Thorpe's leading scorer, Justin Marquez, averaging a little over 11 points a game. They have the 2 Roshaks, so they have some weapons.
And Nate's had some games off the bench. I mean, he had a big game off the bench. Nick's been huge for them. So both, like you said, both
capable
Roshaks.
Double-figure rebounders and scorers.
So
the other boys game we have on Friday night is Northwestern, who's the 7th seed in that. This is another 4A boys game. They're playing a District 1 team. They're going down to play out Lower Moreland. Found out Lower Moreland is a really good 4A team. They're ranked 20th in the state. 22nd in the state, I believe, by Max Preps. Good record, has some nice size. Northwestern's going to have their work cut out for them.
And again, that's a Northwestern team that's in the district playoffs for the first time in a while. And
2008, I think, was the last time in.
So it's nice for them to get back in, and like you said, they get a really tough Lower Moreland team, but anything can happen. So we'll see what happens on Friday night.
And then we have 1 girls game on Friday night, and that's Palmerton. They're going to be playing at St. Basil's Academy, another one of these sub-regionals. They're going down to play another District 1 team. Palmerton is the 7th seed. qualified basically by winning their last game of the regular season against Northern Lehigh.
And I heard a rumor that we might have a very special someone covering that game.
Should we just surprise the readers when they see that byline?
I don't think that they should have to wait that long.
All right, we are bringing retired sports editor Ed Hedis out of retirement. He's going to be doing that game, driving down. It's at LaSalle College High School in Philadelphia. The game's going to be. Ed's going to go down and do that game for us. I was talking to him the other day. He's actually done a little homework on the game already. St. Basil's, he told me, they're the number 4 ranked state team in the state in Class 3A. So Bombers are going to have their hands
a stiff test.
Yeah.
But we thank Ed for taking on that game for us, and it'll be nice to see him back. So,
Saturday, 4 games then on Saturday.
Again, it's always a busy slate. So
we have 2 boys games. Palmerton boys, who are the 5 seed, against Pine Grove, who's the 4 seed. They're playing a game at Blue Mountain High School.
Not as far of a drive.
No, but first time Palmerton's made the district playoffs since 2002, so it's been a long time since Palmerton's been there, and I know they're really excited with the program. Coach Termini has kind of, done a great job with them, and they're excited to have a district basketball game, and it's a 4-5 seed. Anything can happen.
Yeah, and like you mentioned about the girls the Palmerton girls having to kind of win that last game against Northern Lehigh to get in. The Palmerton boys were in a very similar situation with their last 2 games against Southern Lehigh and Northern Lehigh, and it was kind of a winner. District playoffs have started for them.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so
this is nothing new. They played do or die games the last 2 games they played.
And they've been able to come through. So backs against the wall, and they've been able to win those games. So they obviously haven't been taking anything for granted at the end of the season here, and now they get another shot at moving on against the Pine Grove team.
Yeah,
so
Nate Doherty averaging 16.5 points per game. I think he's their 3rd or 4th leading scorer in the area this year, so he'll be leading the Bombers.
Yeah, that they're, like you said, they're going to definitely be excited to finally get that postseason experience opportunity this weekend. So
we talked about some rematches. Another boys Class 3A quarterfinal game is Northern Lehigh and Catasauqua, 2 Colonial League rivals. They've played twice already this year. Caddies won both games, but one was close. It was a 3-point game. The other one was 10 or 12 points. So that's another game that even though Caddy is coming in as the 3rd seed, Northern Lehigh the 6th, Caddies beat them twice. That's the game that Northern Lehigh can win.
Like age, seed's just a number.
Exactly.
But hey, it's one of those things that you really don't know what's going to happen until the game kind of plays out. Somebody has an off game. Somebody like Rennie a couple of weeks ago goes off for 23 points in a quarter. You don't ever plan for that, I guess, but it can always happen. I know Caddy has a couple of big time scorers, but Northern Lehigh certainly
has
can keep pace
for them. And it's interesting to see when you have games like that where the teams have met twice, they play twice every year, they're kind of familiar with each other. What the strategy is for coaches. Are they going to do something different to try to throw them off? If they're going to just stick to what they do best, it'll be interesting to see how Coach Jeff Miller at Northern Lehigh approaches that game.
Yeah, and you don't know if there was something that they saw that just maybe was a small adjustment they could have made in one of those games, and had they done that, it could have swung the balance, and you get another chance with a 3rd shot in a district playoff game. So
2 girls games we have Saturday. It's a really interesting doubleheader at Northern Lehigh High School Saturday afternoon. First game is Lehighton and Blue Mountain, 2 Schuylkill League teams that are familiar with each other, have played twice already this year. Second game is a double local game where we have Northwestern plays in the Colonial League, Tamaulipa in the Schuylkill League. That'll be an interesting matchup between the leagues there.
Yeah, and I think just thinking about the Lehighton girls game too, Lehighton gets a Blue Mountain team that it beat in the regular season finale to kind of force that tiebreaker, Schuylkill League tiebreaker game against Pine Grove, which was a closer game than the final score indicated. The Indians win the lead in the 4th quarter. And then just Pine Grove plays a super physical style of basketball, kind of held the ball,
Typical Schuylkill League, tough defense, physical.
Might depend on what officials you have calling the game sometimes, but so that was a closer game than I think the final score indicated, and now they get another shot at Blue Mountain. But
and you mentioned they beat them late in the season. They also beat them earlier in the season. They beat them by double figures actually twice, which probably two of Lehighton's better games all year, because Blue Mountain is a really good team.
And a perennial contender.
Right. Year in, year out, they're there, and to beat them twice by double figures, that has to give them confidence going into the game on Saturday.
And I think, again, they knew that Pine Grove game was kind of there for the taking. They were certainly in it. So I'm sure they'll be motivated here coming into the district playoffs. And same with Northwestern and Tamaqua. I mean, this is a big chance for a young Tamaqua team that finished the season, around 500 and now gets a number 2 seed in Northwestern, which is always there in the Colonial League.
18-5 record this year. Northwestern made the Colonial League playoffs, lost in the first round of Colonial League playoffs, but had another excellent season. Coach Chris Deutsch does a great job year in, year out getting the Tigers ready. If I could pick a game I wanted to see, girls basketball game in this first round, that's the one I would like to see. I think it's going to be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, because it seems like maybe Tamaqua, I mean, that's a chance for almost like a statement win. I mean, it could be one of those like a team that's kind of coming of age where they have a lot of youth, only one senior, Kirsten Jones.
The Division I of the Schuylkill League is really tough year in, year out. It was extremely tough this year. So you look at Tamaqua's record, and the record is 11-11.
Yeah,
but you don't overlook them. I'm sure Northwestern
and Monoi's and Minersville's and
Pottsville. Just Pine Grove. They've had to play them all twice.
So we'll see. I mean, that could be a really interesting game both ways.
Right. So that's a good doubleheader. So they're all the first round, the quarterfinal and first round games. A couple of our area teams got byes until the second week. On Monday, we have the Marion girls play Minersville,
which is no easy task.
No, the good news for Marion is they are the 9th ranked Class A team in the state of Pennsylvania. The bad news is they're playing Minersville, who's the 4th ranked team, and in the other half of the bracket is Monterey, who's the number 1 ranked Class AA team in the state of Pennsylvania. So,
by the way, Minersville is the defending
state champion. And Monterey is the defending Schuylkill, or just won the Schuylkill League title last week, beating a really good North Schuylkill team. So that is one loaded class. There's only 5 teams in it, but you've got 2 of the top 4 teams in the state in it.
Yeah, when Coach Paul Bruto says that we just had a stretch of playing 2 of the top teams in the state, he's not exaggerating when he says that, because Monoy and Minersville in Division II and Schuylkill League are among some of the best 2A teams in the state.
Minersville beat Marion by 16 earlier in the year. Marion's got to find a way to turn that around. But the Phillies play good defense, as they always do. Their scoring has been a little off when they've played the Monays and the Minersville and the big teams. They've got to find a way to get a little more offense, and if they can, Coach Paul Bruto's been there, done that, so you don't want to bet against him. Yeah, I covered the Monoy game, and just some shots just weren't falling for Marion in that game. Had some looks, just some shots weren't falling, and Monoy kind of heated up in the second half. But like you said, if they get that offense going, it could be a closer game, and we'll maybe see if they're there at the end. Could kind of go either way. So. Yeah. And then finally, we talked about on Tuesday. We talked about Marion Panther Valley, the 16th team from our area that is in the playoffs. The only one we haven't talked about yet, Weatherly Girls. They don't even know who they're playing yet. They got to buy into the semis in the Class A girls playoffs. They'll play the winner of the Salem Christian and Forest City game. Weatherly has 1,000 point scorer Emily Zolson leading the way, and they're the number 2 seed in Class A. They could make their way into the state playoffs with 1 victory. And already beat Salem Christian, I believe, during the regular season. Right. So again, positioned well to make a run at the end of the year. So that's all for our... When we get back next week, we'll talk about everything that happened in this whole group of games, and hopefully we'll have teams still playing next week. Yeah, so take a breath. That's kind of where we're at with our basketball, in our basketball coverage area, but definitely going to be a busy time, but certainly also going to be busy for wrestling this coming weekend with the 2A and 3A individual District 11 tournaments. We have
quite a few kids seated in the top 6 in Class 2A. We have 2 number 1 seeds. We have Northwestern's Caleb Clymer, number 1 at 160, and Tamaqua's Bronson Strauss, number 1 at 220 pounds.
Both had great seasons, excellent seasons.
But then also at 160, we have Panther Valley's Tanner Kennedy comes in as the number 2 seed. So kind of right there. And again, a final between Clymer and Tanner Kennedy would be.
I think, did they wrestle in the semis last year, or
they did? Yes, they wrestled last year in districts, and
it was a close match. I was 2-0.
And they wrestled in the Coal Cracker, I think, as well earlier this year.
So they're familiar with each other.
Yeah, so that'd be
a cool final.
A nice matchup. And then Tamaqua's Bronson Strauss, a District 11 junior high champion. So. A Schuylkill League champion this year, so obviously he has a chance to kind of take another step up there and sort of further cement himself as one of the area's top wrestlers. Several number 2 seeds: Jim Thorpe's John Newhall, number 2 at 113; Northwestern's Matt Peters, number 2 at 132; Palmerston's Lucas Chrisman, number 2 at 145; and then we have Panther Valley's Hunter Kennedy's number 2 at 170. And Monoi's Colin Fegley is number 1, and if those two make it to the final in districts, that would be a rematch of the Schuylkill League final. And Hunter Kennedy, too, is a kid that was a district and regional finalist a year ago, fell to Northern Lehigh's Ryan Farber in both matches. Ryan Farber was a state finalist last year. So
graduated.
So
a little more open this year.
And now, you get a chance to see where, we talk about some of these basketball teams where they're familiar with each other, they've played each other 2 times, maybe now this is their 3rd time. It's the same thing with wrestling in a lot of ways, where these kids a lot of them have seen each other at some point.
Tournaments all over the place in wrestling nowadays. So even if you're not in the same league and you don't have to do them matches against each other, there's a good chance somewhere along the line you've seen this person in a tournament.
Sure, and just for us too, thinking about 132 is kind of a loaded bracket. We mentioned about Matt Peters being a 2 seed. We have Northern Lehigh's Seth Frohnheiser is at 3, Lehighton's Nate Kemmerer is at 4, and Tamaqua's Pierce Demetriadis is at 6. So we have 4 guys there in the top 6, and just to mention too, only 4 wrestlers from the Class 2A bracket go on to regionals. It's 5 from 3A.
Okay. So you have to get to the semis.
Yeah, so it's
to give yourself a good chance. Then you don't have to go through all the wrestlebacks, and so it's important to get those quarterfinal round wins and set yourself up.
And if you're wrestling in the 3rd place match, you're you're secure in just that.
Right.
You're safe in moving on to the Southeast Regional Tournament next week at Wilson Westlawn High School. But we also have Jim Thorpe's Ethan Mordaunt is a 4 seed at 195. Panther Valley's Derek Beckham, the Cobra, is a number 2 seed at 182. Jim Thorpe's Austin Williams is the number 4 seed. Northwestern's Jackson Bernhard is a 3 seed at 152. Lehighton's Chris Whiteman is the number 4 seed at 145. So we also have him slotted in there. And Logan Pagotto of Lehighton is the 4 seed at 138. So we have a lot of guys that could be bracket busters, and one of them too is Lehighton's Cody Shear, who's only he's not even wrestled 10 matches this year.
Right.
So he's not even a top 10 seed, but he's a kid that's likely going to be in medal contention and regional qualifying position.
And Cody won't fly under the radar, being somebody who hasn't wrestled much, because people know about him. He was really good last year.
A Schuylkill League finalist. So he's missed some time with an injury earlier this season, but has worked his way back and is in good health, obviously is certainly fit, and he's looked good so far this year. So he has a chance to make some noise, and if you go by seeding, obviously pull some upsets, but he's certainly not going to be a kid that anybody's going to be taking lightly early on in the tournament. Yep. So, we don't have any Pleasant Valley kids seeded in the top 6.
They're the only local team wrestling in Class 3A.
And that'll be Friday night at Liberty, and the 2A will be Friday night at Freedom High School. Starts at 4:30 p.m. And then we'll come back on Saturday at Freedom and Liberty for finals. Next week we have the Northeast Regional Tournament for 3A will be at Liberty. The Southeast Regional Tournament for 2A will be at Wilson Westlawn High School.
With all the seated wrestlers we have in Class AA, I would expect that we will have a good amount of wrestlers advancing to regionals. It's just, who is it going to be?
Yeah, and it's always interesting year after year kind of talking to kids and coaches and the importance of district districts and district championships, where I don't want to say there's maybe more emphasis put on that than regionals, but being a district champion it's a big thing for kids. It's significant. It carries a lot of weight. It's very important to these kids, programs. Regionals, a lot of times, it kind of just seems like, hey, you're just sort of trying to get through regionals to get out to states. You just want to get through regionals.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I think when you're wrestling in districts, the goal is obviously to get to regionals, but you want a district championship where once you make it to regionals, your goal is just to get to Hershey.
Step away from Hershey.
Right. So whether you finish second or third or fourth, it's all good.
You just want to make it out to Hershey, and however you have to do it, just get through the regional tournament and get out to Hershey. So so that's kind of, I guess, a little bit of a rapid fire look at where we are with wrestling. It should be a really interesting 2 days. A lot of potential, finals matches that would be sort of nice and exciting to see. And like I said too, there's always that chance for upsets. You look at a kid like Lucas San Giuliano last year, kids dropping weight, kids going up, and maybe like last year he drops down to 106. Blasts his way into a district final, kind of out of nowhere. So there's always the potential for a kid.
It happens every year. It seems something like that happens, that someone you don't expect goes through. You'll be down there both days for the AA. Peter Carr will be doing Pleasant Valley in Class 3A for the Times News. But I'm thinking you're gonna have a busy weekend.
Yeah. But it'll be fun. It'll be exciting. These 3 weeks are just kind of what you look forward to almost all season. So definitely looking forward to kind of getting this started, and we'll have a preview for district wrestling tournament running in Thursday's paper, I think, or is it Friday's paper?
Friday's paper.
Friday's paper.
No, Thursday's paper.
Thursday's paper.
Yes.
Okay.
Tomorrow.
So tomorrow's paper. Yes, so that will be tomorrow, along with preview capsules for our district basketball games that a lot of our guys are working on, so you can kind of keep up with what's going on in the area. But
we mentioned diving as well,
district
diving. Andy Steinmetz and myself will be down there at Emmaus this weekend. Tamaulipa has some really excellent divers. Got a chance to bring some District 11 championships back to Tamaulipa. And then the district swimming will be the following weekend in Parkland. So a lot going on.
Yeah, so this next month really will be pretty well loaded up with all of our winter sports kind of coming to a close. So it'll be exciting though. But anything else that you have as far as?
No, I'm excited about playoffs. Got postseason in all our sports right now. So the next month is going to be really exciting.
Yes.
Road to Hershey in basketball. Road to Hershey in wrestling. Road to Bucknell and swimming.
Yeah, so which it'll all be here before you know it. But so that's all for this week. Hopefully when we see you next week, we'll still have our very nice sign behind us. But I'm Patrick Matsinko. This is Emmett McCall. Thank you for joining us on TN Sports Chat presented by Lehigh Valley Health Network.